don't know if any other INTPs do this, but I always forget where I'm going. And so I'd be in a conversation and it just all of a sudden it just leaves me. Like I had this whole lined out and all of a sudden, where'd it go? Who knows where it went? But my theory is that I am motivated by feeling, but also intellectually by thought. And so I might have a conversation intellectually until something may spark a feeling, and then I start to communicate and connect certain points of thought through like ideals or feeling, and my brain will kind of take a nap for a second, and then a little bit later my brain wakes up and goes, "Where are we? What year is it?" And it's really awkward, and then I completely forget everything that I just said or I was going to say, and it's a lovely thing. But I think what I was trying to say was about reading other people and like trying to figure out how to best be yourself through how other people reveal themselves. I have to word this out better. How do I? It's a very abstract thing. We have difficulty trying to word abstract thoughts unless you're well versed in language or you're an older INTP and you kind of can, like, okay, there's this massive thought and how do we actually stick it to the ground where it's actually hearable and understandable through a linear medium. Although like language is a little bit more than linear because there's speaking, but there's also body language and there's also tone and all that stuff. But anyway, I finally found what I was trying to say. As INTPs, at least for me, I know where my holes are. That's another thing for INTPs. We will say things that will put us to the grave and we'll be like, why is everyone laughing at us? Okay, so we know where our imperfections are, personality-wise. Like what is in us that actually causes tension or angst against other people. And I definitely feel how I say things or how I approach certain things that can actually cause stress and tension to other people, and I hate that. And so what I would do a lot of time is figure out, well, something's missing, but it's not natural in my head. So I need to visually like analyze humanity and what humanity is, who humanity is, and pick out the parts that I'm missing so that I can actually implement them into my life. And like it's almost like grafting, like a branch or something to a tree. And even though that branch was never actually naturally on that tree, you can or even like surgery in the ear or on the ear or a whole ear or whatever, taking a part that was never initially on you and creating it. And so that's how I'm able, I guess, to do certain things, is because other people, I study the fundamentals of how other people behave and interact. And so that allows me to have any hope in being who I am. Another thing is INTPs look for the fundamentals, the absolute seedling of everything. So for instance, when I was talking about discovering or looking through other people to find what I'm missing, it's like I'm not just seeing what they simply do, like, hey, look at they lean in more, or they, I mean, sure, those are kind of easy to find out, but I'm meaning there's a principle, there's a fundamental way why they're that way, that because there are many actions that come out from those kinds of from a certain particular way of thought. And I know this is really weird to try to explain, but the seed will influence all of the branches. I guess a way is to explain it. And so a lot of people, they get stuck in trying to analyze the leaves and the branches and maybe even get as close as the part of the trunk or a bigger branch, like for a source of a problem or who people are or life existence. But but that's you can't fully understand the whole nature of the tree if you are stuck on the branches and stuff. And so, but it was funny. It's really hard for me to actually see the leaves, see the branches, because I can see the seed of things, the principle, the very first inkling of thought that inspires the whole entire motive, or whatever, and totally miss the things right in front of my face. It's hilarious, and people would think I was stupid. And of course, being an INTP, I don't like thinking, or don't like the insecurity of wondering if I'm stupid or not. But, and so as INTPs, we look for those things, and that's how we can determine how to make something better. Is because the fundamentals are jacked up. Your building foundation is messed up, and that's why it's leaning over, and that's why sometimes it falls. And so because of that, it can be really hard to be, especially with people, when you see how people have built up certain pillars in their lives that got them to a place of crumbling, and it doesn't have to be anything obvious either. And they're wondering what's going on, and so you have to look at them and you have to decide between, okay, so I want what's best for them, but what's also important is that, people don't just change overnight. And so you have to figure out how to soothingly reveal to them that those things that they're missing.